Oh boy, do we have some news. We have to go over Nvidia, Alibaba in this video, talk about what is going on. We got some big news from Alibaba regarding, what they're doing involving Nvidia. There's a lot we have to go over. So guys, hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. Join the Patreon if you guys want to keep up with my portfolio. Be a part of the Discord. We're posting updates every single week. That is linked down below, or go to stasurfest.com/Patreon and let's get into it, guys. So it is currently about 3 p.m. We're just getting into power hour, and every index in the U.S. market is down. We have the S&P down about, let's see here, to paint the landscape, guys, 0.3%, QQQ down the same. The Russell's down about 0.75%, and the Dow's down 0.3, as Nvidia's down 0.75%. Nvidia's down a little bit, but Alibaba is up. Take a look at this, guys, about 8.3%. So again, we got some news regarding Nvidia, Alibaba that I want to dive into, and a little side note here, guys. Alibaba, I was reading, just hit the highest point it's been at since 2021, I think October 2021. And this stock, you guys know, I mean, it used to be a lot higher. It was $300 plus back in 2020, and then it collapsed, not because necessarily the fundamentals of the company are bad, because, well, really, it's a Chinese ADR. You don't actually own the actual stock if you're buying Alibaba. We're not going to get into this in this video. But yeah, and by the way, we had a stock market crash in 2022. So, I mean, it was a rough little bit for Alibaba. It got all the way down to about $55 to $60 a share. And now, again, we're at the highest point we've been in about 4 years. And with this move here recently, guys, we're taking out the highs from March. So this, on a chart basis, looks phenomenal. And obviously, going back to Nvidia, you can see here Nvidia has been flat for about a month and a half. And I think ultimately, if, in my opinion, when we break 185, I think we're gearing up for that. I think then we're going to make that push for $200 a share. So I like the way Nvidia looks on the charts. Obviously, Alibaba looks really good. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what is going on here with Alibaba, what they're doing with Nvidia. So Alibaba integrates, you guys can see, Nvidia robotics software in its AI platform. So we can see right here, Alibaba is integrating Nvidia's suite of AI development tools for so-called physical AI into its cloud software platform. You guys can see here, the company's Cloud Intelligence Unit will offer customers the option to employ NVIDIA's tools in building AI for the physical world, spanning everything from humanoid robots to self-driving cars. It's a notable collaboration between two of the leading names in AI development, bringing together the U.S. chip designer with one of China's top cloud computing and service providers, right? There's no doubt. I mean, Alibaba is a phenomenal company. If this company was in the United States, for example, doing the kind of numbers they're doing, it would be worth a lot more. And we can see here, we also got news that they're actually going to be spending more money. We can see here the NVIDIA announcement came shortly after Chief Executive Officer Eddie Wu revealed plans to hike Alibaba's investment in AI infrastructure from the previously announced 300 billion yuan, or $53 billion, boosting the company's shares to another high, which again, the highest point in 4 years. So we're seeing more AI spend, not just from, the companies here in the United States, Google, Oracle, all these other companies, but companies in China, Alibaba in this case. Again, 53 billion yuan. They're going to spend more than that, which is their, previous plan from February. And that is great, pushing the stock higher. You can see here his cloud division, which already operates services from the U.S. to Australia, intends to launch its first data centers in Brazil, in France, and in the Netherlands over the coming year. This is big, guys. So Alibaba is making some big news. I wish this company was U.S. based. I'm not investing in Chinese companies anymore, guys. I made that rule for myself a couple of years ago. I bought Alibaba. I don't know. Did I mention this in this video? I mentioned how Baba was a lot higher a couple of years ago. But you guys know, I mean, if you've been watching my content, I used to own Alibaba a couple years ago, thinking that I was super smart buying the dip, and well, it never came back. And for me, guys, when I'm in a stock, it's clearly a loser. I'm not going to sit on it for a long time. That's a lesson I've learned over time here. You got to cut your losers quick. If you realize you're in a loser, it hasn't done anything for 6 months, 9 months, a year. It's going down. It's flat. You have a feeling. You're like, this doesn't feel good. Let me get out of this. Cut your losses fast, because you're not only losing on your investment, right? Your actual investment. In this case, me and Alibaba, I wasn't losing just the money itself sitting there rotting away. It's opportunity cost. I could have put that money elsewhere. And yeah, I did. I did that. I sat on Alibaba a little too long, and then I got out of it. And I'm personally not investing in Chinese companies anymore, ADRs in particular. I'm just not anymore. But yeah, kudos to anybody that still owns this. Alibaba is doing very well. They're investing more money in in data centers, right? More infrastructure, and yeah, they're doing some work with Nvidia there, involved with their, physical AI, robotics, the self-driving. So it's going to be interesting, man. Alibaba definitely has a bright future, but I'm not involved. I'm not involved. But you guys do know I am in Nvidia, and I am a proud shareholder. I bought the dip like an absolute madman back in April, and I owned the stock before April, but I bought it like crazy in April, and yeah, now I think we're just in a consolidation phase before we make that final push. Not the final push, like, it's the final push before it collapses. Nah, but before we make that push to 200 at the end of the year. I think that's what we're setting up for. And yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. I guess the core lesson here is cut your losses fast, cut your losses fast. Especially, I mean, if you're trading, obviously, that's obvious, but long-term investments, man, when you're buying stocks and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy this stock and hold it for, a long time. Let's say that's your plan, but then you buy it, you start seeing fundamentals deteriorate a little bit. Management maybe isn't executing like you wanted them to, or like they said they were. You have a weird gut in your feeling. It's been a year and a half. You're sitting on this stock. It's not doing anything. Don't be scared to cut losses, man. Get out of it. Even if you're not down, even if it's flat, or you're up a little bit, don't be scared to move on. But also you gotta, but there's nuance there, because you also have to be aware and be like, okay, is this one that I should cut and move on from, or let it go a little bit more? You have to have that, what's the word here? Discernment, or you have to have that. You have to have that the way of thinking about it. You know what I mean? You have to be able to decipher. Okay, that's the word, or whatever. You know what I mean, right? And a great example of that is SoFi. I could have cut SoFi loose because I sat on it for a little bit. It was kind of a money, not even a money loser for me, but I was in the stock for like a year. It didn't do anything. It was during this period right here. You guys remember that. And I could have cut it loose. I could have been like, oh, yeah, this is done. Let me get out of this. But again, there's nuance. I was like, the fundamentals are still good here. The story's not, it didn't play out yet. So you have to have that, ability to differentiate between stocks. But yeah, and look, if I cut that one loose, I would have missed on this parabolic move to $30. And yeah, I kept it. I still haven't sold a single share of SoFi, which is nuts. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Let me know your thoughts. in the comments. Run the likes up, subscribe, follow along for more content. I appreciate you guys, and check out the Patreon. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing every week in my portfolio, guys, I post those updates on Patreon. There's also a Discord. I post my, trade ideas throughout the week. Whenever a trade idea pops up, I post it in there. And yeah, check it out. It's linked down below, pinned in the comments, or go to stassurfest.com/Patreon. I'll see you in there. And with that being said, peace out.